And for more now, continuing coverage on the Kenya Constitution at 6, I'm now joined in studio by Kinuthia Mwangi, who's a former chairman of the now defunct Transitional Authority. Thank you so much for being with us today. 6 years on, how would you say the country is faring in as far as the implementation of the Constitution?
I would say that we are doing well, but there's a lot still to be done.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Because
10
of
being the best?
yes, because of effort, I'll give them 6.
Okay.
Yes, 60%.
You'd give him 60,
because
6%,
of effort.
Because of the effort.
Because of the effort.
So the Transitional Authority no longer in place. It was there to really midwife that process from the old constitution to the new one, but you did not get an extension.
Yes.
Quite not new now, 6 years on, we cannot call it a new constitution. But do you think you were able to achieve what it is you intended to as an institution? And if not, what are the challenges still?
Let us first of all distinguish segments and sectors of the Constitution.
Right.
Because the Constitution is arranged according to different priorities, national priorities. But we always say that the biggest project of the Constitution is the devolution. And I was in charge of facilitating the devolution into a devolved system of government. A lot of people, when we talk of devolution, they think of county governments. But devolution really means a change of mindset and a change of structures, both at transformation of the former central government into a national government, which has its different mindset, different responsibilities, and different focus, and different structure. Then we have the county governments that never existed.
So
and
how are we
these
doing
have to be formatted to be as they were anticipated in the Constitution.
Right.
I think the biggest gain of the Transition Authority was to achieve more or less uniformity of practice in all the devolved entities. We were able to produce almost equal or similar practice. But you see, there's the issue of structure, there's the issue of practice. We think that in terms of practice, we still have got quite a lot to agree on.
Right.
You can see even today, as we are here, there are still some MCAs who are impeaching governors. And you have to ask, do all the governors understand their responsibilities?
So devolution has its own challenges.
It has its major challenges.
There are those who feel that although Kenyans overwhelmingly voted for this constitution, it has since been mutilated. It is not the same document that Kenyans said yes to. That this, especially with a lot of what we see happening in Parliament, has really been watered down. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I don't quite agree with it, but there are attempts to water it down.
For instance, Chapter 6, is it what it was before?
Well, that one was an extreme case. I think it was just neutered at the very beginning. It was not even allowed to come into existence. So I was never happy, and I'm never happy about Chapter 5.
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6. Because that is why I think we have a lot of impunity in this country. And a lot of things are not working because there is no accountability as would have been expected under Chapter 6. Yes.
And when you see
but there are also others. I agree, there are also others where when we meet a small challenge in the implementation, I see members of Parliament running to contain or to reverse what was intended. And you'll see that a lot. And some of them are ridiculous. I once heard over the media an MP saying that they are going to bring a motion to Parliament to call, so that governors cannot be called governors, so that they can be called some kind of coordinators, or, you know.
Right.
And I think we sometimes even go petty. Yes.
Talk to me about the not more than 2/3 gender rule, because that has been an area of concern.
Yes.
You know, coming into this new dispensation, 6 years on, there was room given by the Supreme Court for Parliament to be able to come up with that mechanism to bring to fruition the same principle. But that did not happen. We saw the postponement to now, today, where there are those who argue we face a constitutional crisis because of not meeting that requirement by the Constitution. Do you see it that way?
Why we face a constitutional crisis is because I think one of the schedules has indicated those laws that must be in place within a certain time. And I think the general rule is one of them. However, there is a saving clause in the sense that the courts or the Supreme Court gave a guidance to the interpretation and said that in bringing into effect the gender rule, it was a progressive process, and that kind of saved the situation. However,
but did they give a timeline?
Delaying, yeah. Yes, of course.
Which was then again postponed 1 year on to today.
1 year on, yeah. But then with this gender clause with this court interpretation of progressive, I think it had gone up to 2015, but probably some people think that you can play around with the word progressive and continue progressing it. But it's a pity that we are not giving the gender rule the importance that it deserves. And one wonders what is so impossible about passing that particular act. We must give the other half of the Kenyan population their due share.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on Weekend Prime. Kinuthia Mwangi, who's the former chair of the now defunct Transitional Authority, with us.